Okay, so we're getting ready to do a poem. As soon as I wrote the afterlife and the honeymoon, a paint color came up called the afternoon, and I was like the aftermoon. That's a good one. That's a good one. So when I was also thinking about the casket song, I was also thinking about the citronitas and the rubito, and I had been wondering about a missing moon, and I have tried to describe the concept. Okay, let me say one more thing. I used to associate moons with thinking about periods also, but let's go with the element of how we have progressed through our shine. Okay, so uh, I used to describe it as how you need to be, oh, providing material with your partner to develop a relationship, but you also need to be okay with how they take in that material. And that, it's like, it's going to take some work for me to try and get precise about what I'm trying to explain, but I think it's a good step for me to do the explanation of my process through the way that I'm doing it so that we can start working together better and better and better. Okay, so when I first saw Ren, I recognized all kinds of things, such as that he knew what was going on over here, and he used that to make music and connect. It felt like a way to connect us together, such as I'm just gonna do a few examples. The if you there is this frog and a lizard that hang on my ceiling fan in my bathroom. It's a tree frog, and it has. I used to have a picture with a tree frog sitting on a teacup reading a book, and then I also had a tree frog shower curtain before I built my own shower. Uh, uh, when I removed the old bathtub out of there. And part of that story that I said was talking about the other day was when I took down those walls and learned how to do cement walls and pulled out all that insulation. I had found all of those lizard eggs and lizards. There were live lizards in there, which is good. That means that they were protecting my house. But anyway, so I noticed Ren's song that he sang. Now, me remembering all the song titles will probably pop into my head later, but they're like I'm doing visualization. He had people with masks on in a bathtub with things that I had at my house, such as the frog mask. And when he did the song about the illness of our time, I think it was, and he talks about the side effects will show. That sounded like words exactly that I had heard from my mother before. And when I heard him talking about all his pills and everything that he was taking, I sort of thought about my grandmother having taken pills. But then I also thought of the peels like peeling the layers of onions. And when, like the song I heard about the 1990s today, he includes a part in there that says, I love you if you were born in the 80s, I think he says. And I can, and then there's another song where he talks about getting a cheeky cup of coffee and staying up late on Facebook, wanting to be together. And there's all these things that are included in his song that it's like, and the topic is that we're thinking of how our shine works together. There's all these things that are in his song that shine like a flashlight inside of my own memories. And that's how I recognize him. And that's how I started trying to start questioning who God is and how that works. How does he have all of that knowledge and everything that he has, and what has, it was my speculation about what he was doing and how he might have been feeling being a presence within me, but not being able to actually be with me. And how did I feel about having to be like a sort of, I don't know, because it's like you would say, do you feel like you've had some kind of out of body experience, or do you feel a little bit more like you were an insider and an outsider trying to understand what was going on? And but you know, the other thing about the stories that I made up about Sebastian and the chin, and then there appearing a chinchilla, and the stories I made up about Daisy, and all these things. It's like he grabbed it and was doing all kinds of things with it. And you know, it was like, I don't know. I've spent so much time trying to think of it that I can't come up with any other explanation other than that we're soulmates. And to try and separate the shine aspect as to one of us is dark and one of us is light is not, it's not even possible to do. It's more like, I imagine, because some of the things that he made beautiful work out of might have been not very good memories inside of my mind and my experience, but he turned them into music in ways in which were uplifting for his own soul, and shined through that way to give me back love in experiences that were difficult for myself without being harsh and condemning and making me feel bad about myself. He used that light as a way to form a way to grow our hearts. And I had to, and there's other places where I had to do things watching him and transmute whatever light came out of myself in a way to keep myself uplifted, and also to hold on to the belief and the intuition. It's both a combination of both, that everything that we were doing had purpose, and it, even though some parts of it were difficult, they were much like exercises to help strengthen us. And that's the way light has transmuted back and forth. Because what, like, without my, the hardships that I had went through, and the way that he transformed those into inspirational music, where would the inspirational music be if the hardships didn't exist? There wouldn't have been a reason to find ways for him to shine his light of love, um, through however all the many ways that he has done that. And just like I said, as an animal will feel like it's a way to get to heaven when you are in sorrow. That could be true in areas of relationship bonding, where you're able um, to be that loving light support for each other, and in the ways that you come out and show yourself about how you're experiencing things is a beautiful process. Now, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing with keeping on going with making more poetry and everything that I am doing, and I find it very soothing that we're able to do that. As far as the part in the description that talks about one of the relationship partners depending on the other one too much for sunlight, I don't see it as one of us is the sun and one of us is the moon. It's like there's both of those elements in both of us. So when you talk about somebody's trying to get your sunlight and they are too dark, I think that is a lesson in strength building. Because I think there was at one time I was feeling like I was being very clingy, and Ren did a video talking about his nipples, and I pretty much knew he was insinuating I was maybe too worried and trying to get him to make me feel better instead of trying to do that for myself, and he was not going to do it. That's how I interpreted that message. So that's kind of what I think about when you talk about one partner is depending upon the other one too much. And in some of the ways I've experienced that with myself is when I want explanations of what is going on and what the plan is with desperation, and the other person won't give that to me, and then I have to start imagining and using my intuition and coming up with and doing research and coming up with speculation and trying to sort out the truth in all of those things. And some of it, a lot of intuition, it's like part of it is because of a feeling, but some of it is because of what maybe we could call rigging. So if I think that Ren has given me a lot of information beforehand about what he wants for us, and then I have that knowledge in my mind, when I get through this part where I'm scared, then it kind of overrides that, where I don't fall so low, and I don't have to freak out, and that's the only thing that I can think of when it comes to rigging a relationship. And I would say that we both have done that because um, of my writing, that I write down all of these instructions or explanations about what I think is going on or what I would like to happen or what ways are helpful to myself to get through circumstances for strength, and then he can take those instructions to use them also. Then we're both doing rigging because he's giving me warnings so that I don't do anything to sabotage things or to be self-destructive, and I've given instructions to him about what ways are good for myself or what ways I feel like are good for myself in the relationship. So that's another way to shine. And with my saying about the explanations is that it's a waste of my time to sit there and tell him that he has to do things the way I do things, instead of us just figuring out how to work together in a way that we're able to understand each other. Okay? Because I don't think it's very healthy if we are demanding too much information from each other instead of trusting those feelings and thoughts going on inside. But we can still do it however that seems to be like it's, we're both having our shining, I would say, is that the love that's coming out of yourself and the things that you are doing in your relationship make you feel good to be yourself. That's the best definition that I could say. And so if you feel like you're sort of overly catering or following around the person that you're with, that's how I would describe it as. Instead of feeling like that you're shining your true self forth, then I think it's probably only some kind of fear. I don't think that, like, in this situation, the way he's done his music, incorporating me into the way love comes out of him, I don't know how I could feel that he was the shiny one and I was the dark one. I don't even think it's possible to come up with that idea with this situation. It is possible to go through the alchemy thing and take it to where I have made up stories about, because I don't have all of the information, and those stories that I have made up to create both of us in my mind, because I'm getting to know Ren in a gradual process. Those stories will transform and dissolve as we get to know each other more. And that's what the citronitis is. It's that you have an idea of a person and they have an idea of you. And as you get to know each other more, those ideas shape shift and change, but they also develop you into who you are as a couple and who you are individually. Because I don't think there's ever going to be a phase where you're not in a relationship thinking of stories about what you're trying to imagine, and then that imagination becoming reality. So this is the idea for the Aftermoon song. Now, how does this correlate to the idea of the afterlife? Well, I had talked about when you get in a relationship, there is a death of your old life that you had, and in our circumstance, that is being single. I would say that we're starting to understand our connection a lot more. So that goes with the afterlife, and then I had said that it was going to be the next 7 years of our life after the implant removal was going to be called the afterlife, the next 7 years. And so I'm trying to come up with some ways to think about that. I like the shine. I really like the way the shine and the moon goes. But as I said, I would like to work on my communication skills, and this is going to be really helpful. Also, good practice for when I do get to spend time with Ruin, because I'm going to have known or have the feeling that he has been able to watch me trying to get my words out and everything, and have felt that acceptance before it actually happens. So I'm not going to be like feeling extremely shy about us talking with each other. So that would be an example of a missing moon, feeling shy around somebody that you are excited about. I don't, that's normal, but if there's ways to practice on that for things to go smoothly, we might as well do it. And also, figure out ways about how we're going to create this music together. The other thing I was just thinking about was how complete and how much do I want to get into these poems that I'm doing, into turning them into music. Do I want to leave them kind of unfinished so that we can have some material that we can learn together? And I think that maybe that's it, but I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. Maybe he can have some versions that are unfinished in his notebook too, and we can combine those when we start, spending more time together in the same location. So that's kind of a way to join each other. I'm not going to say forces, but join flashlights. Anyway, there's my thoughts thrown out about the next poem, the wedding series album.